So, welcome back to the Pallet podcast, and this is episode 4. We got a very, very special guest, Leon Scott.
Thank you for having me, boys. Thank you.
Come on,
Thank you for being here. We've got a lot to talk about, haven't we?
So much.
This house is crazy.
Wait. I say this stuff from the beginning.
All right, yeah.
This guy's a legend.
I know. I'm just getting into it. I'm just getting
Where we
into it.
starting?
Let's start from the beginning. Let's say,
I just got
because
too
how I
excited.
knew about you was through Instagram, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The modelling. What was it? Siksilk?
Siksilk, yeah.
Siksilk was the first ever brand,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So was that your brand?
No, it wasn't my brand. It was, again, that came from football. It was a guy who owned the brand. The one person that did own it at the time, there's 3 that own it now. He asked me, I was never a model at the time, I was just playing football. He asked me to model a brand, an idea that he had. If you remember, it was the baseball jerseys.
Yeah. I actually bought one, yeah.
No,
And
I
it,
bought
I remember
it,
just
mate.
like they had like Furley written on it first because it was called Furley Silk. He changed it to Siksilk. Yeah, so I done a shoot for him in Scarborough, down the back of an alley, no experience, just me and him. We hired a photographer for the day. He had no experience, and it just went from there. Done 3 or 4 shoots for free. Next couple, £50, £100. It was just a snowball effect from then, really.
That's crazy. It's like a massive brand now. It's like
Worldwide, yeah. Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah, I saw that. It's crazy. And I think he's just opened a ride in Flamingoland as well. I went to
Yeah,
it.
we went.
Yeah.
We went to the opening.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
That's
mental.
mad.
Mental.
It's crazy. So is it always something like you wanted to do, kind of modelling, or did you just fall into it?
Just fall into it, really. I had a few people, mates, and that jokes. Get into modelling. Your mum, as always.
Yeah.
Get into modelling. You got looks. I know, but I'm just the lad. I've always thought that. I've always played football. Always been a bit of a rough lad, growing up. So it was back then. I'd say 15 years ago. It was more of like not a feminine thing, but it was like. And not a renowned thing like everyone's a model now. You do one shoot, you're a model.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Back then it wasn't my idea.
Dump on, wasn't it?
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like it was like, oh, you're a model. What are you on about?
Yeah. It was sort of like I always used to play it down to this day. I still do. I'm not a model. I don't believe I'm a model. You know what I mean? I've just got the look and the personality that goes with it. So it was one of them. It was like nothing that I always wanted to do, but as it progressed and as the workload came in, it was like, wow, so I'm actually getting paid for this. So what, you're flying me to LA and I get to stay and I get paid. So it was like mind-blowing every experience, even to this day still. So yeah, as it progressed, I sort of, fully got into it, but it was never something that I thought I'm going to be a model and be successful doing it. No.
Yeah.
So for the people that don't know, what did you do before modelling?
I've done care work. I played football at a younger age for Middlesbrough. Unfortunate, I didn't get a professional contract. Then I went to college while still playing football for Middlesbrough College. And then I got into work through, it was a guy, an autistic guy and a Down syndrome guy who used to come and watch me play football. Still see him to this day, he's just been ringing me down the way. His parents won't mind me saying his name. It was George. He took a real liking to me and I sort of took a liking to him. He's 38, 39, but 15, 14 in mind. So yeah, it went from there. I was doing that, voluntary, working with him. And then I sort of enjoyed it. I got a lot of pleasure from helping him and seeing how happy he was with the small things. So my mate's mum, she was a manager of a care working home. Spark of Genius it was called. So UBU, that was the first one, UBU. So I went into that and I went full time there. And that was, she sort of put me all through my care qualifications, level 1, level 2, MVQs, while working. So I was obviously getting a wage while educating myself. So that was my full-time job for 4 years, working with, challenging behaviour children, autistic children, Down syndrome children in care. Like I said, and then while still playing part-time football. And then obviously modelling came into it where I had to make a decision which one I wanted to stay with.
Mate, that's brilliant.
That's so good.
I would have never expected that. That's
Yeah, I know. That's really good. It's really good. I mean, so like, because you own a couple of companies now, don't you? So you have your own clothing company. So how does it feel weird from like modelling it to making it?
I wouldn't say weird. I would just say, for me, it was always going to happen. You know what I mean? I was always around it 10 years, forever trying and closed. The amount of times I must have been changed and unchanged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For shoot, you turn up, there's 100 products on the rail, you got to go through it. You know, e-com's a little bit more boring than campaign or location. So in terms of weird, no, but like I say, for me, it was destined to be. I love fashion. I love clothing, touch, feel, look, you know, fit, everything that goes with it, all the touch points. So it was part of what I knew would happen, of where it's at now.
Yeah, that's well good.
What was your first brand?
First, circular.
Was it Hera?
So
Was it Hera or Hera?
no, so Hera, that came about at the time. My modelling career was like, back then I was getting approached by agencies left, right, and centre. I was literally shooting every other day, up and down the country. Sometimes not home for weeks, travelling abroad. And Ash White, the owner of Hera, he approached me and said, well, would you come exclusive with Hera? And I was like, well, what do you mean exclusive? He went, just only shoot for Hera, no one else. I was like, whoa, well, I'm getting paid this a week now and this a month, and I'm experienced this, and I'm going there, I'm meeting him, I'm getting all these doors are opening. So I spoke to my old previous football agent on advice, what do I do? And he was like, well, what does he want from you apart from exclusivity? What else does he want from you? So I asked that question. It was like, you know, back then, I think it was 3 posts a week, might have even been 2 to 3 posts a week. 1 visit to Cheltenham a week, which was a 4-hour train journey, which I didn't mind. It was covered. To help on designs and creative and give my opinions. And I think we had about 2 shoots a month where I had to travel to London. So there were his needs on what he wanted, as well as me not shooting for no one else.
Yeah.
So I had to say no to every other brand, any promotion, say no. So I put an offer on the table for him, right, this is what I'm getting weekly now. Bear in mind, that isn't guaranteed, you know, as in the modelling industry, 1 week's a good week, next week's a bad week. And I put it on the table to him, and he turned around and said, yeah. I was like, whoa. And that's when I was like, shit,
So
now I
straight
need...
away.
Yeah.
Shit, I should have given 50
you know what I mean? And these are many for like big figures.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa. And this was a 3-year contract. So
Shit,
I was like,
that's a long
oh,
time.
yeah. I was like, whoa. And he was like, when do you want to sign? I was like, oh, fuck. Well, I need time to think here, mate. You know what I mean? A lot of money's just been put on the table. And I only have to like do 2 posts and visit Cheltenham once and a shoot a month. For my life, from being 110 mile an hour, is going to really slow down. So I had to sit down and look at it all, and I really valued it, because the way I valued it was not so much the figures and the money, it's the time it was allowing me to give back to family, particularly my nana, who isn't here today. So I was like, whoa, so this means I'm not going to be on the road 24/7.
Yeah.
So I get a lot more time with Melissa, I get a lot more time with my nana, my mum, my family, which I think is very important and vital. I know we all have busy lives, but always to go back and check in with that and see how everyone is. So for me, that was the most valuable thing within the contract. Don't get me wrong, the money played a big part. But, you know what I mean, I was like, right, let's do it. So from then, I signed a 3-year deal with him and became exclusive with Hera. And, you know...
I feel like it's quite good being exclusive, you know. It's like you can give all your energy to that one brand.
Yeah.
Instead of like bits here and there.
It's a good and bad thing, you know.
Yeah, because I was losing out. Not losing out, but a lot of brands didn't know I was exclusive, and they were like, "Oh, you've even been invited to a shoot in Morocco next week. You're invited to a shoot in New York next week. You're invited to a shoot in LA." And I go, "No, I'm exclusive." Like some brands didn't understand it. Particular Foot Asylum, JD, the stores, ASOS. They're like, "What do you mean you're exclusive?" You know what I mean?
But you know what's mad? Even all my boys, they knew you were like exclusive. Like it was such a big thing in my area anyway.
Plus, I think
you get me, like
Hera was like one of the top brands
massive.
of its time. Like it was huge.
they used to sold. I had to go on eBay to buy it.
They basically
Legit,
brought
I had
out,
to buy it second hand.
Yeah,
I swear.
yeah, they basically brought out this like the stretchy skinny jeans, didn't they?
Yeah,
That's
he
like
did.
the
He was the first person to do it. You know, you can say it's luck or you can say whatever it's wrong, but you know, you you need to apply the look to get the look, you know what I mean? And in that terms, Ash, there was a market, I don't know if you remember, where guys were actually wearing girls' jeans, and I was one of them, because we loved this.
Tight
not
fit.
so much now. I wouldn't say never wear them, but it's not in fashion now.
I've got baggy.
Yeah. Very rare people actually wear, like, you know, tight fit and stuff now, legs wise. So he hit the market perfect.
Yeah.
He actually got me a video to say, like, as a part of the marketing and the promotion on a campaign. I stood there and saying, I've always struggled to buy skinny jeans. I just shopped in, and we used that, and it done really well. So yeah, from then onwards, he had like 3 products of skinny jeans, and then just grew and grew. His turnover was ridiculous. Obviously, Ashley's got his own story to tell behind all that, and I'm sure he will, and he is to this. He's revealing it all now. But they just blew up massive to a point of where he couldn't handle it, and his way of handling it was going to Vegas to watch the McGregor fight and blowing X, Y, and it was mad.
You earn money that fast, it's very hard to kind of
Yeah,
you don't really know what to do with it.
It's a bit like winning the lottery, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like money's crazy.
Would you say Geordie Shore helped with the fashion? You get me? Because I feel like the whole skinny because I'm up.
I
north,
agree.
I'm
Yeah.
up in Scotland, so we watch like the Geordie Shore lads. You get me? How they dress, and then feel like people.
Yeah, they influence a lot of like younger generation.
I wouldn't say so much now, but back then when you had your Gaz, your Aaron, your Scotty. I guess that was because it was the first thing on reality TV. There was no Love Island. There was Big Brother, but that was the elderly type thing. And yeah, you would watch that and be like, they look cool, I'm gonna get them. You know what I mean? And he had a lot of. I believe when your brand's in a powerful position, when people actually come to you and go, "Oh, that looks cool, mate. Do you mind sending me that?" Instead of you going to them and saying, "Okay," and he got that. You know what I mean? He got people coming to him saying, "Can I wear it?" Although he probably didn't need to. He was tying a lot of these down on monthly deals and paying them big money. Like his outgoings were mad. Like obviously, he could afford it back then, but who knows whether it was a mistake or not? Obviously not, because he's blew up anyway. But yeah, going back to that, Geordie Shore definitely had a part in people's fashion back then.
Yeah.
Do you think having a big outgoing is important in a brand, or
no?
Depends what you spend it on. I feel like, isn't it?
I feel like you see some people spending crazy money, and I see others, they hardly spend money on promo, but they're smashing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think?
Well, obviously, word of mouth is probably the most powerfulest self-advertisement, organic advertisement you can get. You know what I mean? If you've got 200 happy customers and they receive the product's got to be right first. They receive the product, they're going to tell another one, and it's just a matter of time before, it's a long game, and nothing ever turns up and wins overnight. You know what I mean? Especially if it's something worth having. So in terms of we for both brands I've got, like Danny Buck, he's religious on it. Jason is as well. Outgoings to the very minimum. Unless we really need to, we won't spend on it. I wouldn't say influencers are dead to this day in terms of, ROI coming back from them, but they're not.
Shit, I'm out of a job.
They're not as common as what they were, basically. When you went on Love Island, you did a bit of a. Potentially, you've done really well in yourself. Don't get me wrong, but I believe you probably would have done a lot better if COVID didn't strike around that time.
God,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you had a bit of a bad luck going in that. But the past Love Islands, Alex Bowen and all them, they were like the peak time of it all happening. So you got massive deals coming out of there.
I remember Anton, TikTok gave him. I don't know if I can say it, but fuck, I'll say it. We're not friends anymore. They gave him like 20k. So I was helping him. I said, what is this app? Like helping him do the content, but 20k. Look at TikTok now, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's the new, it's the new platform, isn't it? So,
unlucky, man.
TikTok's like fucking booming. Like that's where everything's going now. Brands everywhere. How's your two brands doing? Like, because you own
Circular with Danny Buck and Fawn with Jason Janghiri. They were actually the two founders of both companies. Danny founded his Circular. It was a watch brand. probably approach either of you, to be fair, at some point.
Danny's like,
yeah.
talk to him sometimes, like, LEONS crafted and
Yeah,
all sorts,
exactly.
and-
Yeah, so he, Brand Builder he's got, which is an agency that oversees all brands, which is an Oldham group for the brands. But yeah, Danny Buck owned Circular. It was a watch company, and he had me on a contract, a monthly paying contract, to turn his contract over, to turn his content over and be the face of the brand. Little bit I could tie that one in with Hera because it wasn't a clothing. So within my contract, I could do jewelry or accessories, not clothing. So I was working with him, and again, he was like, "Look, I love what you're about, love what you create. Why don't you come in this with me?" So what do you mean? And he was be part owner with me, 50-50. So I was like, "Yeah, but watches is not true to my value or vision. I don't like. I have an Apple Watch and I have a nice watch when I go out. That's it. I'm not really going to keep investing in a 40-50 pound watch on a regular basis, or there's not a massive clientele or customer coming in from there." He said, "So what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I always wear sunglasses. What about sunglasses?" Danny was like, "Fucking brilliant, let's do it. Sunglasses it is." So we changed it, we rebranded it, kept the name, we both liked the name, and I changed it to Sunglasses. We first launched with it was like a LS1 range, which had my LS1 initials on, which at the time was cool, but as we progressed together, I was like, we don't really want this on all drops, to be honest. Like, in all due respect, not everyone wants LS1 on the glasses.
Yeah.
So yeah, and obviously came on board with Danny. He does all the other side of stuff, very, very good at it, the operational side, the marketing, the website, you know what I mean, the infrastructure, he's got all that. And then he puts me to the product selection, communication with manufacturers, picking them, selecting them, content creation, influencers. So it works well in the two of us, and that's very similar to the clothing. Jason, again, he's a local lad, Middlesbrough, not far from either of us. And he approached me, and it was like, "Look, again, I love what you're about. Have you ever thought about doing your own clothing?" And I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm weak at. And he offered what I was weak at, and again, I offered what he was weak at.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer of collaboration, bringing two powers together, and they're going to be unstoppable. You know what I mean? And you can never, you can achieve heights alone, but you will never achieve peaks alone. You know what I mean? So
a lot of people don't get that though. A lot of people just want to win themselves.
I think that's very ego driven. You know what I mean? It's about me. I want to win, and I'm going to win. You're not going to beat me. Well, how about prime example? Prime.
Exactly.
And prime example. You know what I mean? It's two powerhouses joined together. Look at it, bang, blew up, explosions. You know what I mean? They've been willing to drop the ego, and from one year they were against each other, both competing, both fighting against each other. Hang on, let's join forces and fucking create superpowers.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what they've done. So, like I said, when Jason approached me with that, I was like, let's do it. Again, I looked at the brand, seen things. I was like, but there's things that's got to be true to my values as well. Again, I'm not just a yes man in terms of saying, "Oh, that's good, that's good."
Yeah.
Sometimes my missus hates me for that because I say, "No, that's shit." You know what I mean?
I feel like
But that's the best way.
Yeah, best way. Yeah, and I'd want that as well. You know, I don't like yes men around me. If they're saying yes to everything I'm saying, I'm starting to question, is it true? You know what I mean? It just makes me think I'm not that good. You know what I mean? I can't be getting everything right.
I feel like I used to be one, but now I'm not. I used to say yes to everything, and now I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like,
I guess again that comes with a fear of you feel like you're letting people down, but if anything, you're letting them down by just agreeing and not being true to your values.
That's true.
You know what I mean? There's times when I've seen things, unless I really care about. Unless I not care about something, if I've heard something or overheard something or seen something and I don't agree and it's within my community of people or the people I care and love, I've got to step in and say, hang on, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
That's what I've just seen. They might tell me to fuck off, but at least I can walk away from that and it'll keep me head high. I'm like, I spoke up and I kept my vision and my beliefs to me instead of walking away then going, did you see what he said there?
I know.
That to me, that's like, it's snaky, it's wrong, it's fair. Because it'd eat up on me thinking, you pussy, you coward. Why didn't you say something then? And that comes with age. There's times when I've been younger, probably learnt from that when I've walked away and said, why didn't I say that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I do that? There's probably still times now. You know what I mean? We'll finish this podcast and we'll all be like, although will it be a really good podcast and we'll deliver really good value, we were like, oh, why didn't we say that?
Yeah.
It's always,
but that's life.
It's always something.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I always get like that after an argument. I should have said
You always
this.
voice me like, why did we say this? I was like, we didn't even talk about this.
But I guess that's good, because that shows that you're wanting to, you know, grow and deliver more and over deliver, instead of just being happy with. We will be happy with it, but we have this thing in us where we always want more, and it's just a common trait of, you know, wanting more and doing better.
Yeah, definitely.
Amen. So let's talk about properties. Let's talk about this mansion you built. Bro, I love it.
Thanks,
I must
bro.
say.
Good.
Thanks.
Is that like your dream home that you've always dreamt of?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Minus a pool, but.
Just put one in the back garden.
The place is so big. Pause. Do you need that much space?
No, no, that's one thing that we've noticed. But you know what I mean, really grateful of the size and the space that we've got.
Of course.
But yeah, there's 3 floors, and I think we've been on the 3rd floor once.
Ew.
Yeah, so
I never knew that. 3 floors. Yeah.
so
I'd
yeah,
get a slide me.
yeah. Well, we joked about our bedrooms connected to it's above the kitchen, and we've been grand design, seeing what crazy shit we can do on and put in, people putting things in our head. And instead of actually taking, obviously, all your wash in your basket down, we're like, why don't we put a slide straight from the bedroom?
I saw them.
Yeah.
So good. It's like,
I was like, let's do it. And I started like throwing things out there in the air, especially to the tradesmen. And Melissa's just like, when we walk away, she's like, no, you're not. Okay. Forget that one then. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy. Man.
so
It's
for
crazy.
like the people who don't really know like what you've built kind of thing, so like just like a brief kind of like, you built it from like literally the ground up.
Yeah.
So you
from the
started from like the very beginning. How was that? Was it scary?
Yeah, very
How did it get
scary.
Building or buying a place already?
We were planning on buying a place, you know what I mean, and we were looking, me and Melissa, and everywhere we viewed, it was something like all new builds now, rightly so, if you know you're flipping it and you're selling it, they try to utilise as much space as they can by splitting an open space into 2 rooms. It's now a 2-bedroom. It's not, because it's just really 2 really small ones.
Yeah.
But as a property developer, you need to do that, you know what I mean? So we were viewing a lot, and I was just like, they're saying it's a 3-4 bedroom, but really, like, I walk out of one and I step in the other.
Yeah.
There's no space. So we like thought about it, and I looked at funds, and Melissa did. We're like, let's build. And like at the time, it was a bit of a joke. I think we were out or something, and it was a joke. And then like, no, let's really look into it.
Was
And I
your,
like,
your idea?
yeah,
like,
no, not my idea. And Melissa was like, yeah, let's do it. Like that. And I was just like, right, let's try and see how far and what's required to do this. So I went on a few property courses to try and get a little basic info of where you start and what you do, your due diligence, what you need to look out for. Gathered a little bit of information. I was like, right, let's start looking for land. We viewed a few bit of different land, and none of them come with, you know, all the connection points and, you know, all the services and what have you. And then we got a call one day from my old football agent and said, I heard you're looking for land. I said, yeah, why? And he says, there's one left of where I'm building. And he said, you'll know where it is. It's Flats Lane. It's where my mum lives now. So it's not far from where I'm originally from, but it's quite private to where it is. So it's like I can get away, but I can easily drop back in when I want. Because I am a home person, never really want to move too far from home. So I was like, this fits perfect. We went over, viewed it. As soon as we turned up, it's like big private gates walking in. I was like, fucking hell. I just stuttering and everything as I'm walking in. I was going, play cool. Because obviously we needed to meet the guy who owned the land.
Would you walk in and be like, yeah, this will do it?
So me and Melissa, right, we walked in, he walked us around, and I was like, fucking hell, looking around and thinking, these are massive. Melissa's from the town, I'm from South Bank, both estate areas. Are like, Jesus Christ, I ain't even seen them apart from on TV this big. So we walked away from that, and he had it down for a price. You have to buy the land outright. And I was like, I'm going to offer him this, you know, and it wasn't far off from what he wanted. And he turned around and said, if you put 10 grand deposit down now, I'll accept it. So I was like, shit, you know what I mean? We were like, it's happening. Yeah. So obviously I had to contact my solicitor. And we were 2 weeks later, fast forward as the paperwork's going through, I was in New York, and he put a bit of pressure on us. He was like, the 90% needs to be cleared within the next 48 hours, or I've got someone else. I believe he was full of shit at the time. He just wanted to get over the line, but we also didn't want to lose it.
48 hours?
So I'm on the phone at my solicitor in New York. I was over there doing a shoot, and I was like, "Needs to happen." He was like, "No, it can't. We need to do checks. We need to do this. I ain't just clearing that in case it comes back. This is wrong." And we took a risk, and it was a gamble. Anyway, more or less, he was like, "Oh, you need to sign something to say that I'm not held responsible if this shit hits a fan." I was like, "I'll sign it. Send me it. I'll sign it." So I took a big risk in terms of could have turned around. He could have been like, "Well, you're not allowed to build," but there was two houses at the time starting.
That feels you a bit accomplished.
Yeah, exactly. So we got it over the line straight away. Came home, me and Melissa celebrated. I think we went to a beefer at the time. Celebrated.
That's cool.
I came home. We give out ideas to the architect. He scribbled them all down. Done some drawings and that. And then we were in a beefer at the time celebrating, and then he sent the visuals over. And we were sat watching, and we were like, whoa. Walk through the door, and like you see everything. I was like, how the fuck are we going to pull this off? Because it was a big ask. Because even he was saying, this is a complex build you're going for. It's not the norm of a build. So we're like, my attitude. I did obviously do due diligence to look at it properly, but I'm like, if I think about something too much and put it off, and you know,
just have to step in.
Yeah, just step. And like, I was like, I don't fully know the answer here, but I'll never know the answer if I don't step forward. So it was one of them. Just walk. Don't look up, just keep walking. You know, you'll find the answer along the way. If you don't, someone else will tell you. So we just done that, and it was literally, I wouldn't say blagged it, but to a certain degree we did blag the old build. You know what I mean? We were like,
best way to blag it, isn't it? Okay, no, this is how we did it.
Exactly. So all the houses there, are they different?
Yeah, all self-builds. You know, they've all got their own personal touch. We actually wanted render on the outside. I'm so glad that we didn't now. Because
I like the brick. Well, render's nice though. It's nice.
It can be a bit of a headache sometimes though.
See, I wonder what's cheaper.
Oh, it's bricks for sure, isn't it?
Bricks cheaper, eh?
Well, you put render on top of bricks, don't you?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, kind
of. So from there, mate, it was obviously we just went for it. First of all, we applied for render from the build, got rejected, and he said you need to change your brick. You need to change the brick because it's got like at the minute it's got like a castle there. What castle? This big massive house that he's selling at the minute. It's got a bit of an old build, and they didn't want too much of a new build out over in that area.
Did someone reject it then?
The council rejected it.
Did someone put a complaint in?
No. You obviously when you apply for a build, it needs to fit in line with what's within the area. And
that was probably in the contract, but you didn't know now.
Yeah. So that's in his contract. So the guy who sells the land, he writes a contract up. He sells you the land with a build of what he's got the permission for. So we could have went straight in with his build, with his design and what he had, which puts more value on the land because it's already got planning permission. But we were like, I still don't like that. I want it to be ours. Me and Melissa were like, we want to change it. So we did. That's why we had to reapply £250 to reapply. You're waiting forever. And the first one come back, said, no, we don't like render. And then our solicitor checked his the contract with Jeff, the owner of the land originally, and he'd put some type of clause in there that it needs to fall in line with his build, which was like an old looking build. It wouldn't look right if ours was really modern. Although it is still very modern, they didn't want it like standing out like a white house while everything else has got that build. So then we just went from there. Well, reapplied with brick. We had to present the brick, and I remember the brick. They were taking forever.
Choosing the brick.
Yeah. Fuck me, so many bricks.
Different colours, all sorts of
You
bricks.
see the black bricks?
Oh yeah, they're mad.
Do you like them?
I just feel like it get bird shit on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Paint splashes.
Yeah, true.
But that's scary, isn't it? It's I think
every step. When I look back now, it's scary. But at the time, I was just like,
it's exciting.
Yeah, it was. That I think that's what was more overdriving. I think everything we have a choice of which emotion to pick, and every time you're getting that scary and excitement, it's telling you like you're doing something out of the unknown, and you know what I mean. You can choose to pick the scary one, or you can choose to pick the exciting. And I tried to pick the exciting one more, the exciting emotion more than the scary one. Although it will always still be there.
Yeah.
But if I treat something as a bit like, instead of what's the worst that can happen, what's the best? Like, what's the best thing that can happen?
You're not gonna lose out, are you? Because like it's a mint investment.
Easy.
Yeah.
Like, what did your family say? Were they
crazy?
What I can imagine, my mom would be like, kind of worried, like such a crazy project to get me, like.
Yeah, I don't think my mom and my nana, I don't think they like really understood how big of a like project we were taking on. Like, obviously, I didn't want to reveal it to my nana until it was ready to be seen. Yeah. And she used to always say, "You're gonna show me. You're gonna show me." And the crazy thing about that, it wasn't signed off, but the house was done to a degree of where like the landscaping wasn't done, the windows and everything had been put in, which we had a delay of about 5 to 6 months on that. Just the windows, mate. It was always in this magic container that didn't get shipped. That we were waiting forever on. But yeah, I don't think my nana and mum didn't realise how big of a project it was. And I remember I said to my, right, I'll go and show you it now. And it was crazy because the timing was was mad, because the time I showed it was only a week later she'd passed. So it was like I remember it a Saturday morning. I said to myself, I'm going to go and show Nanny how. She was like, it's not fully ready yet. And it wouldn't have been ready until about another 2-3 months. But something inside me was telling me, go and show her it. Go and show her. So we did. And I first remember pulling up outside. It didn't have the drive or anything. The roads weren't fully done. But we pulled up outside, and the first thing she said is, who's going to clean that? You know what I mean? She didn't say well done or anything, because there's glass everywhere. And it's massive. She said, Leon, who's going to clean all that? I said, so do you like it or not? She went, yeah, it's gorgeous. You know, we couldn't fully go inside, but unfortunately, that was the only chance or the only thing that my nana seen of the house, because a week later she'd passed. But if I didn't do that gut feeling that I felt that day, she wouldn't have seen it. She'll only seen it on the pictures as the progress was going up, which we showed her every day.
That's definitely the thing I've learned. Like, just listen to your gut and don't just do
deep.
It. It's crazy. Week later it was.
That's mad. It's fucking crazy. Wow. What kind of have you found hard with doing this? Because I feel like there's a lot that goes on.
Yeah,
a project like that. Like, I struggle with a one-bed flat. Never mind.
Yeah, so obviously we had no experience in the industry in building. You know what I mean? Particular project managing. So
and
we reached
your first property. Sorry.
It was. First
then.
one we went in, which is why we were lucky enough to accumulate as much as we could to go in for the land and the build at this size. We were very patient with it. There's so many times where I could have dove in and got something, you know, where I wasn't fully satisfied with. But we weren't. We were patient while renting, and then went in with this. But yeah, in terms of the build, it was probably finding well, I guess it's everything in business, I suppose. It's finding honest and trustworthy people. Yeah. You know, and just. I've sort of created. If someone was to say do it again now, I could do it no problem. I've got a red book and I've got a black book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's guys who I'd call it an instant, and I could go away and I'd come back and I'd know it's done. Where a lot of that I was finding out, like, because, you know, young, good-looking lad, bit of money, we can take advantage of him. Not knowing, obviously, I'm an estate kid. I was brought up in the streets, you know what I mean? I don't be deceived of how I look and what I wear and things like that. So I would always do my research and ask other people. But yeah, so many people would try to make... I'm all about long-term relationships, business and friendship.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who I came across in the industry while building were more interested in making a quick quid instead of a long-term game and a relationship.
That's more important.
Effort
That's how you make more money. To be fair.
Effort goes such a long way. Like if you put your neck out for someone, they're gonna put your neck out for you.
Easy.
So it's crazy. Like some people just rip off so many people.
Yeah, it's great. Like
Judging you on what you do or what you look like.
Oh yeah,
so
straight
you'll
away.
Be thinking, handsome lad, probably just a footballer.
Doesn't know much about the game. Let's take advantage. You got so many of them, and it was like you'll still like you get them in every business. And you know what I mean? Like I say, I'm a street kid. I'm street savvy. I'm quite clued on at people reading and understand. But yeah, so many. There was a guy for the roof in particular, one that stands out. Obviously, it's a gated area, private gate. Come in, you see the castle on the side, other big houses. Must have been rubbing his hands together. He's got out the van, and he already had a value and a figure in my head of what it should be. And I remember him pulling up and walking up, and as soon as a tradesman starts humming an hour, then it's trouble. And I'm like, here we go. You know,
Big job there.
you do know it's right, just give me a figure. You know what I mean? So as soon as that happens, I'm like, here we go. So he's umming and ahhing, kicking things and touching things. I'm like, you're not even doing down there, mate. You're doing the room.
The job.
You know what I mean? I could fix that as well, you know, son.
I hate when they do that.
It's going to be a bigger job than what I thought this. Of course it is. So anyway, I think the figure was 22 grand.
For the roof?
For a roof. I've looked at him, I went... What are you doing building an extension? That is from what you mean. I literally said them words. This is what you mean. I said, that doesn't matter, mate. Thank you for your time. He went, what, do you not want to discuss it? I said, no, mate, you've given me a price. You've took the piss. I said, I know what an idea of where I need to be.
Yeah.
And I said, that's almost double. You know what I mean? This is just labour. I'm providing materials. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is adding all materials because it's a self-build. Everything's material. And with the self-build, on your first build, you can claim all your VAT back.
Yeah.
So obviously I was supplying materials. I went... And he knew this because I'd told him it's labour only. And he tried to justify... I remember him muttering, trying to justify himself. And I wasn't being rude by saying, mate, you know where the gate is? Thanks for your time. He was like, well, do you not want to discuss? I said, not to discuss. You give me a price, mate. I've asked you for a quote. You've given me it. And you've absolutely took the piss. You know what I mean? And that's what I found frustrating from tradesmen. From, you know, if he come over and said it was close and not too far away or in with it, within the price, I was, you know, done the research and thought this is where it should be and spoke to other guys, then he might have got the work. Not only would he got the work, he got the relationship of potential more work and me recommending him to someone else and so on and so on. So I can never understand guys that try to make a quick quid over what they see at the time as taking advantage of someone.
They're just judging you. Just on the place.
It's fucking crazy, isn't it? I just don't get it. And
so what was that for? For the tiles? Like putting the...
They're putting the lats and tiles and everything on.
I'll do that for 22.
Yeah.
That's mad.
So I was just like...
Pisses me off, man.
I feel
I've had
like
that a few times.
with like people who come as well, when they have on the side of the van, joiner, plumber, electrician, stay fucking well away from them. Holy shit, there's no one in the world who could be as like many trades as they can.
Unless you're Polish.
Yeah.
They can do it all to me. They can do it all. Pick up.
Robots.
Like, through the night.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's mad, isn't it?
So how long did it take your the property?
To finish, well, I say finish, we're still not finished now. We're still certain areas that we're still finalising, getting. The house is like officially signed off, but it took us just short of 2 years. Which, speaking to people of the house of the size, it's not that bad. Yeah. And we started again, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth. as we got the plan of permission came through and the council give you permission, recruited a team and discussed fees, and we had everything set ready. We had a date. Stage release funds were coming in. So like, right, let's go, we're ready. And as we were ready to start on the Monday, I think COVID the week before struck. Oof. When no one was allowed, lockdown. I was like, oh, yeah, but you can still come to the out. They're like, nice lockdown. We can't, like, all materials are stuck. Workers were stuck. They wouldn't come out. You know what I mean? So
get your trowel out and overalls.
Yeah.
You're fucking laying bricks today.
So me and Melissa were over there just looking at a pile of bricks thinking, wow, what we're going to do now? But yeah, restrictions slowly started to ease. But I guess a bit of a tricky point was a lot of it, shops, factories, warehouses, where we were getting these things from, where we wanted to see, we had to rather see over a Zoom or a Skype, whatever it was.
It's not the same though.
No, because with everything, you know, in person, I like to see the person, see what the person's about, touch, feel, hear, see, all these senses again that I like about things, that what I get that connection with. And I wasn't able to get them, so it was a bit of an hard thing for me because that's how I like to work.
Yeah.
So we're picking things like, going, oh, is that nice? And he's putting it at the phone or the screen. I was like, I can't see it. So yeah, that probably delayed things because some things we called off. I was like, nah, forget it. I'm not picking like this. I'm not spending 20 grand for whatever on something perfect, that I haven't seen in person. So that did delay. I believe it would have been done a lot sooner if COVID never struck.
Yeah. 2 years is good though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Fucking, that's quite good for like what's happened as well.
Yeah,
that's really good.
I was just trying to think.
Wait, you hear Mix?
I was just trying to think.
Anyone that bubbles above his head there,
Yeah, no, that's quite easy. I'm trying to think, what are the questions? What have you got?
What's your favourite part of like the house? Because I saw like there was like the vaulted ceiling, which I love.
Yeah.
And then the staircase is probably my favourite.
Yeah, the staircase is sick.
Probably the same. The entrance, that was our idea. We went on holiday in Spain one year, and I just loved these spiral stairs. I was like, imagine these in a home or in your house. And me and Melissa like joked about it. So that's where the inspiration came from, and it had a balcony running across to the other side. So we were like, our entrance needs to, like, as soon as someone pulls up or we pull up, we've got to be like, this is home. You know what I mean? Instantly see it, visually see it. So yeah, the stairs, the spiral stairs over 3 floors going up is probably the best feature of the house. And off each staircase, there's a balcony running across to the other side of the house.
Yeah.
So I think that and the 2 outdoor balconies, the one on the roof.
That's really nice.
Which was really good while we were, last summer, the landscape wasn't done out the back.
Is there a bedroom going before that?
Yeah, just two either side of that.
Yeah.
On the roof.
Is it?
6 bedroom.
You know my favourite part of the house? Or my favourite thing? See the tap with the hot water.
Yeah, Melissa loves it.
Oh my god.
That's handy, that one.
Yeah.
No kettle.
Yeah, that's sick. Could you fit that for me?
I'm expensive.
It's fully booked.
So what's left to do then at the property? Is that?
We've got everything laid out, or basic layout in there, but we're wanting to try and put a bit of our own touch in each room.
Okay.
At the minute, there's a pool table in the kitchen where we want to, I don't know how, but we want to try and get that to the 3rd floor to create, I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, because it's actually like a marble slate, the table, the bed of it. Oof. But the top floor, the balcony looking all the way down is a big drop. And I'm talking about making that into a games room / bar. And it's like, that's not a good idea. If someone's over the balcony, so yeah, it's personal touches. But in terms of having it fully finished, The back only recently just got finished. All the AstroTurf got laid. The front drive's all just been done. We're rendering the entrance. It's 2 block
Is that
paving.
allowed?
Is that what? Yeah. So we're rendering that, and then going to put some soil and planters in the middle. So as you come up, so it's probably in terms of build wise, just the front bit, and that should be done within the next 2 weeks. I'm speaking to a guy to do the rendering on that, and then we'll just choose the plants that are going to go in the middle. So not a lot now.
That's
In fact, in your bed's crazy. Have you seen his bed?
Yeah.
So that was a
Jesus.
company, a friend of mine, Phil, Luxury. You're probably aware of him, Luxury Bed.
Yeah.
They obviously, I speak to him and he's like, let's create your own bed. So that we designed that bed because obviously it's got a vaulted ceiling. We needed the headboard wouldn't sit right if it was behind like a standard headboard. So the headboard's like something like, I think it's 12 foot. Like, you know what I mean? So the
That
bed
shit's on my head. It's like,
Why don't we even have headboards?
yeah. So it was one of them. We wanted. I'm like, where are you going to spend the most time in? So I tried to put the attention in where you spend the most time in, and that was obviously one of them. So the bed, I joked at the beginning and said, I'm going to make this room into a bit of a spaceship. So when I go to sleep, I go flying. You know what I mean? And at the minute, we sort of put it that way. I've got these lights where they shine on the ceiling and that. Just make it, that therapeutic before I'm going to sleep, as comfy as I can, as calm as I can. So yeah, that was the aim of the bedroom, to be honest.
That's beautiful, man. The
wicked.
place is
Would,
sick.
what would you say, like, is it something that you'd do again? Would you like do property kind of investment or?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something that I'm looking at now, to be honest. It's like I said, it's in terms of do again, there's a lot of personal touches that I've put in there that I wouldn't need to put in if it was a property development in terms of flipping it or changing it. But in terms of the contacts and the people and the knowledge, you know what I mean, it's cost a lot of money to get it because it took a lot of mistakes probably. Where instead of just going on a course, again, I'm a believer of you learn by doing, not by being told. So we've had to do a lot of things and spend a lot of money and make a lot of mistakes to get the knowledge to say let's do it again.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not right now because of my attentions with both brands. But in terms of an investment, 100%, yeah. If it's with the right people. It's not something I wouldn't probably dive in myself. It's something where 2 or 3 people, we can release a workload. You're good at this, do this, I'll get this in, I'll fund that, blah, blah, blah. And we work it like that.
We can have a chat later.
There we
You
go.
literally pitched to every guest.
There we go.
I'll take 20%.
Depends what the fees are.
You were writing a book with Bethan before.
Yeah, I'm a businessman.
Every opportunity, bro. I like that.
I'm telling you. Well, yeah, we can have a chat later on. So let's talk about.
Let's go off topic a bit. Like I see on your Instagram, you're very like motivational. You do a lot of meditating and stuff like that. What do you feel like that's like very important to work in a general day with business and stuff like that? Because like I think it's quite like very important. Like
To meditate.
Oh yeah,
like-
just general health and fitness and mindset in general.
How the fuck do you keep in shape all the time like that?
Innit?
I know how I feel from these things, you know what I mean? It's just like, if I want to, give better for family and myself and businesses, you know what I mean? I'm driving the ship. If I become ill and I don't look after myself, everything else is going to take a hit, you know what I mean? So that's obviously my reason and my why and, my motivation. One day, bigger goal, I want to say to my mum, you live there, don't worry about that, just don't worry about nothing. You live there, now live your life, you know what I mean? So but looking after myself, if I'm not looking after myself within my fitness and within my mindset and with the meditation, with the education and learning myself, you know what I mean? It's going to break. It's not going to be achievable. So I think it's very important, and which is why I have for many years of my life, you know what I mean? It's now sort of embedded in me to become part of my routine, part of my life. And if that's missed, it doesn't carry on the day, you know what I mean? It's like something's missing if I've not meditated if I've not worked out, if I've not read some part of a book or some part of a blog, or met with like-minded guys to have an open conversation, I feel like I'm underachieving.
Yeah.
And that feeling, to me, it's not nice, which is why I do
that's
everything
good.
like that and keep on top of it.
When would you say, or like, see, meditating for me, I feel like it's a new thing. You get me? It's not something I'm seeing it a lot more now.
Even
So I feel like
working
years ago that wasn't a cool thing. You get me? Like, people would be looking at you as if you're a madman, but I feel like I'm becoming more open to it. Like, what would you say made you start meditating? And what do you do from it? Is that like just hitting the gym, or
no? So obviously, well, I told this story about 10 years ago. Chris Williamson is on his podcast. Believe it or not, he's blew up massive now. He had David Goggins on his a couple of weeks ago. So when I first started meditating, I'd say about 12 years ago, he invited me on his podcast mainly because of that.
12 years ago.
So with you saying it's new to you, or it's coming more popular, it is. But to me, it's always been at the front of many conversations, or you know what I mean. It's part of fitness to me. You know, like I speak about that, or I do that just as much as I would go to the gym.
Yeah.
So how we first came about it, me and my friend Vinny, we were like, we both loved the gym. He was a rugby player, I was a footballer at the time. We loved the gym. And I, as a youngster, I was very aggressive. You know what I mean? I was like, I need to control this, otherwise I'm probably going to end up going to jail. Blah blah blah.
See, that surprises me, you know.
I was
seem so calm. You get
yeah,
me? Like,
so
but that's I'd rather you get me look calm, but at the same time, whoa, you see that? A lot of people judge me, you know, but I'm quite strong with this, you know.
There's that stance and everything. Shit.
He had it then. He had it.
But yeah, because to me you seem like such. Obviously, you're a gentleman, like, but at the same time, like, you grew up in the streets, like.
Yeah, so obviously I am now, but yeah, it's younger age. You know, younger Leon was very hot-headed at college years, and Melissa has seen this side of me. You know what I mean, and she's seen the development and the change. You know what I mean. I wouldn't say that's sort of within the local scene, within the local area, why or how I've got my respect. People have sort of like seen that side of me, of where I was, and my family and my brother and everyone, who are rough and ready type thing, if you want to put it in that bracket. But I've sort of like came away from that, but I've never forgot who I was from coming from that. You know what I mean? I'm still mates with all the lads in the estate. I still visit them, you know what I mean? Pay my respects. Because that is me, hand in hand.
Well.
You can't take that away. Like,
no.
No.
Exactly that a lot.
And I mean, that's me. Although, like, I'm like, fucking hell, Leon, you're going to LA, you're doing this, you're smashing it, blah, blah, blah. And I never really give myself much credit. I think I come from a state area. They're like, if you can do it, we can do it. You know what I mean? It's like, always humble myself by taking myself back to my area of where I'm from. But yeah, meditation, it came, getting back to that. Me and my mate, I wanted to control my anger. He did in a way. I was always left burnt or left disappointed by my reactions of something, which made me feel more disappointed. You know what I mean? If something happened, bang, now I'd come away, I've upset him, I've upset her, I've cried there, I'm getting arrested for that. Something needs to change. How can I change? So we tried meditation, mate. And I remember us going, and we did laugh. Pretty similar to what you're saying. There's a monk sat there, and he's got this dressing gown on at the time, is what you call, but it's a monk suit. And I mean, I'm like, fuck's sake, what are we doing here? We're lads, we're boys, you know what I mean? We shouldn't be here. We're men. Which again, going back to the stigma of trying to break that of, you know, mental health, we were like, nah, let's just commit, let's just do it. And I remember looking at him, and again, the same story I told like 12 years ago to Chris in another recent podcast. I remember looking at him, and as he was, what he does, he puts life scenarios on the table and says, this is how we're going to manage it. So he slows it down in real life time, but slows it down as he's explaining it. And as he's explaining things, as he's going over scenarios, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, yeah, that really resonates with me. That kept touching me. But as he's telling them, he just looks so happy, so light, so content with just sat there with a pair of flip-flops on and a dressing gown. And I was just like, whatever he is on, I want a piece. I want some of that. So that's where my commitment came from. I was like, I'm going to commit to this. And me and my mate did. And each week we felt ourselves improving within a person of like how our behavior, our output to family, to friends, you know what I mean? Although we were still output as failing every time a test comes up, like a heated situation, that's like bang. How quick can you put the pause button on that to be like, right, does this need to go back fire with fire, or can I take a step back, perspective, and see the bigger picture? And I guess that's where the power came of when I can do that, I sort of become in control of me and my thoughts and feelings and actions. You know, they said not every action needs a reaction. You know what I mean? So it was like, how quick can I do that? There's still times when I fail. You know, you get your road rage. And the first time when I did pass that one in myself, it was so confusing for the other driver because I've cut him up, didn't mean to, mistake, accident, they happen. But the minute he's pulled beside me and give it this, give it that, and I went, sorry. He's like, really confused him because I didn't go back with fire. He was probably expecting me, well, you fuck off, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, and it almost made him go from that to that. You know what I mean? And that made me, I was like, yes, like, it was my fault. But the quicker I could have easily, like, head on fire with fire and this and that. But I knew what I'll put that on me and thoughts and feelings, because then that made me real hot-headed. And wherever I was driving to, I'd carry that fire into the next destination, into the next person. Someone would say, like, you know, ask me to do something ever so small. I mean, no, fuck off, I'm not doing that. And I'm still carrying that, you know what I mean? That feeling, that thought. So and when I started getting feelings and being able to manage things like that, I was like, this meditation is a thing. Like, for me, and I don't mean it by being big-headed, looking good is easy, but feeling good is a completely different ballgame. And that's what it was making me feel good. But it was hard to try and tell people that, because, you know, we're all aware of, if you want a bigger bicep or bigger chest, you know fine well you got to go to the gym first, and you got to do bicep curls to get bigger, and then you start to feel better from that because you can visually see you getting better. And as humans, if we can't see improvement, we tend to get disheartened and start walking back and give up, you know what I mean? And we never know how close we are to overcoming them, you know what I mean, if it's not a visual achievement. But with meditation, that's what it was giving me. It was giving me like so sense of like gratitude and achievement and self-awareness and being in control of argumentative situations and in control of me, I guess, was the main thing. And understanding and realizing I'm never in control of anyone else. So the meditation just grew and grew from there.
I think that's amazing. Especially 12 years ago. Imagine somebody telling me to do that. Be like, what the fuck?
You should like give it a go.
But now, see, because I see a lot of people doing it, I'm more open to it.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's what it is. It's that stigma of trying to. Jay Shetty burst on the scene, and I was actually meditating before he did, around about the same time. And he's so good at it and speaks it's very complex to a certain degree of like, it's quite hard to break down, which was what I was saying in terms of, you know, repetitions. You've got to do it and understand you'll fail. We fail at everything. But, you know, Melissa, she's not keen on it because the moment you meditate and you sit in silence and you sit with your thoughts, you know, there's all sorts that rush to your mind and to your head. And many people don't want to face that, you know what I mean? And
they can't shut off.
They sort of occupy themselves, you know, with everything else to ignore that. And I just feel as, you know, you're pushing them to a side, you're never really bringing them to the top of the surface to accept them, to deal with them, which is why although I didn't deal with it as well for the first couple of weeks / months of when my nana passed, but I think the meditation played a massive part for me to go back to that and be like, you need to bring yourself back. This is part of life, you know what I mean? Be grateful of what's happened and how it's happened and try to, you know, see the bigger picture on it. So meditation for me has helped me in a massive way, and I'd encourage it to anyone, whether it's as an app called Calm. You can start there, 10 minutes, listen to it, sit in silence. That is your time. That's 10 minutes to you, no one else. Dedicate that 10 minutes to yourself to sit in silence. Your mind will run wild. It'll go all over. You'll think of what you're going to have for dinner. You'll think of you know, the next job, you'll think of the next... Everything will come flushing. You know, the moment we sit in silence and be present is the moment our minds become active, more active, with potential thoughts that you don't like. You know what I mean? Look, guys in jail, when sat just in four walls with their own thoughts, I still, if anyone's been in jail, I believe they're very strong within their own mind to sit and deal with that. Not knowing that they're not getting out between them walls, but that's where they've got to sit, just them and someone else in the thoughts for 24/7 every day of the week. And you know what I mean? Who's the guy that's currently in jail at the minute? Well known. Is it Tate?
Oh, Andrew Tate. Yeah,
so he's obviously put a few things about him meditating and that, saying, you know, they can control his body, but they can't control his mind. You know what I mean? So getting perspective and getting control. I'm not a master at it by far. I'm not, and it's constantly always learning about my mind and how I can work with it and not work against it. And meditation for me, again, going back to it, has been a game changer.
I like
That's
that.
good. So like,
I need to try it.
you're like, I feel like you're a very successful businessman, and like, I think a lot of our viewers are kind of like young, probably people who don't really understand like property or maybe something like that. So what would kind of your advice be to kind of maybe start a business or kind of to go down that route?
So my first advice would be, it's got to be something that you love and care about and you're passionate about.
Over the hype.
Over the hype,
right.
you know, and not just getting caught in the moment in terms of what's happening right now. And thinking again, short term, thinking you can cash in quick and make. You've got a minimum of a 5-year plan of, I'm going to commit. If I'm fully passionate about this, I love it. I love what it's about. You know what I mean? It's always been part of me. There will be times where you do get bored and maybe fall slightly out of love of it. But first things first, you've got to be passionate about, if you're starting a business, of what the business is about and what, you know, I wouldn't even say understanding the fundamentals. I don't even think that's important. You've just got to love what you're about to create and then just start. Don't look into it too much. Don't be like, oh, but I need that in place. I need him on board. So I need that. I need this. Identify the basics of what you need to get it started. Make sure you love what it is you're about to start and just go for it. Figure the rest out along the way, which is what everyone is doing.
Yeah.
Do you need a lot of money? Because I get asked that a lot. Do you need a lot of money
I think
to
you
start
need
a brand or...
Not so much a lot of money. You do need initial investment, like all businesses. But the main investment that you've got to be prepared for is your time, which is invaluable. You know what I mean? Where to this day, is no such thing as a 9 to 5. It's crazy because this morning, myself and Melissa, we obviously check in with each other's thoughts and feelings every now and then. And today's conversation was that we feel like we're both 100 mile an hour in our business and my business. You know what I mean? When I'd come home, I'm still on the phone. I'm still packing orders, sent. I still take part in all this and do all this. So we've never really, for the last couple of weeks / month, spent quality time together. So
Which
we,
is important.
yeah,
Exactly
100% important. And but having your partner, having your people around you, your circle, and making sure they understand this is I love this, but I love you, and having them on board with you. There is going to be days where, unfortunately, you're going to feel neglected. I'm going to feel neglected, but just understand we both have each other's back, and it's important that you have that. So yeah, money wise, I think it's not 100% important because you know
people start brands with a couple $100 quid.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And like I say, it's just being fully committed. Like I say, minimum. Well, not so much my minimum plan in any business is a 5-year. Like, I'm in it for 5 years. Can we build it? Whatever, sell it, or can we continue to build it? But you've got to be fully committed and love what you're doing. But money wise, you know, if you've not got the money, can you use your mind? Can you use your head to get an investment in and offer what you can value? So you're not potentially using your money, you're using a silent investor who, you know, who's got millions, 100,000 sat in the bank, 10 grand to them. If you can prove your business plan and your model to them, it's not a massive investment to them to give them 5-10% of the company. So there's ways and means around how you can get the money in, but it all depends on how much you want to let go for the amount of money you're going to get back.
You should go on Drag and Den with all your ideas.
Honestly, I don't sleep I'm always thinking about the next step, but I need to calm down. You get me? I need to, like what you said, I need to, like the properties, that's what I'm focusing on because that's what I enjoy. You get me? So my mistake was growing up, I always just did anything for money, but did I love it? Like, it's not the same.
Yeah, I get caught up, like, I always get caught up with business and trying to I literally do that every single day. And
like,
then
what's next?
It'll come to the point where, like, Lucy will be like, you're doing too much kind of thing. We need to kind of just ease it off. And so, like, she kind of calms me down kind of thing.
Yeah, similar with Melissa.
Like, when I'm with Lucy, it's a totally different me compared to when I'm at home doing business all the time.
See, I'll be honest, I struggle. Like, I could say, oh, let's have a movie night. Next minute, I've got an idea. I'm writing, I'm searching while watching the movie. Like, it's not fair on her, but I feel like you need to... I wouldn't stop. You get me? It's just me. I can't, but I need to learn to take time and like give time to her or give time to myself. And like I said,
it's just putting things in place, isn't it? Like you're both aware of. Like I'm the same as what you're saying there. Like crazy times, ideas come in, and I'm like making notes in my phone. She's like, "Are you messaging?" I was like, "No, I've just thought of something." You know what I mean? I was just, it's trying to understand. Like it's time. It's giving them time. Like if I've been Melissa like 20 years now. If we're not giving our loved ones enough time, it's, you know, what's more precious than their time and your time? You know what I mean? Right. It's like them businesses ideas that might come there, quickly make them, get them away, be present, and that's again going to meditation. I still struggle with it, being fully present with this conversation right now, and you know what I mean. Not because the cameras are on and because it's a podcast. Not one of us have touched our phone. But if you're with your missus or your brother or your family, I'd have picked that up and played with that several times. You know what I mean? But this conversation has been so good, and so, you know, I've enjoyed speaking to you. So having that with your missus, you know, or your mum or your dad or your nana or something, it's important to have, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like say, right, my phone's away for the next 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Let's talk while we eat. If we're just eating and talking, let's talk. Let's make an agreement. You don't touch your phone, I don't touch my phone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. True. Not like, but both being aware of it. But if you've got important things coming up, again, it's important to communicate and say, I'm expecting a call. Though, like we sometimes forget to do that with loved ones, but we would with business friends or business meetings. If I leave this meeting, I've got a call. You know what I mean? If I'm having something with food with Melissa, I'll just get up and go on the phone. So where the fuck are you going? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But if I was in here or somewhere else in a business meeting, I'd explain myself. So we just sometimes need to slow down for our loved ones while we're chasing our dreams to make our loved ones happy and us happy.
So, there's a question. What is the secret to a long-lasting relationship? Is that the way to put it? Yeah. What's the secret?
I think the first things first is communication. And for me, I wouldn't say I treat my relationship like a business, but communication in business, in life, and everything. Honest communication is so vital and so important. So many things break down because you didn't communicate it, you didn't air it, you didn't tell them. You know what I mean? If you think something's wrong, going back to the conversation earlier, as well as what we were saying, if you don't speak up to something that you don't agree with, one, you're a coward. Two, it's going to eat you up. Three, it's going to, you know, prolong and make things worse. So me and Melissa, we've always been very open with that, checking back in with each other in communication. How do you think things going, relationship? And it is like a funny thing at first, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? At the start of a relationship, it's probably not needed. You're probably too caught up on having fun, traveling, shagging, everything else, you know what I mean? With your partner, that is.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? You're in love, which is the first 2 years of every relationship. And then it starts to slow down. You're like, oh, well, we've done that, we've done this, we've been there.
That's the stigma with it, isn't it? Like, the longer you're together, like when you get married or something, it's like, oh, there's no sex. But it's not the case, really. That's you're choosing.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So it's a communication. It's a bit like a check back in. What do you think we need to do more? Like, what do you think's missing from the relationship? Are you still attracted? You're still attracted. I'm still attracted to you. And just communicating and keeping things like exciting, keeping things fun.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And just taking each other not too serious with everything between each other. You know what I mean? Communication, trust is massive, but I believe you've got to build trust. You can't just gain trust. Trust crossovers with respect. You know what I mean? Them two you can't just walk into a business or in a relationship and demand trust or demand respect, especially if you're going into a relationship with someone who's been, you know, past there or past situations. They find it hard to get trust. So you've got to gain that. You've got to put yourself in situations where, like, you know, and I have failed, Melissa's failed, where, like, I'm coming home at 10 till I come in. You know what I mean? And I've lost that 1% of trust. You know what I mean? And when she asked me to do something, it's more of like, make more bank deposits instead of, you know, cash withdrawals. And what I say by that is, if someone asks you to do some particular misses, can you do this? Yeah, I'll do it. Well, there's one deposit. Oh, I can't do it. She's like, you can't. There's a withdrawal. So if your withdrawals are lower than your deposits, something's gonna happen. You're gonna argue at some point. You know what I mean? So communication, trustworthy,
trust.
Yeah, trust. Making things fun and exciting. Always having something in there, whether it's a week, whether it's a monthly. Me and Melissa done a lot of travelling. We were in a good position to travel. If it's not travelling, you can even just go on bike rides, long walks, trying new things together. Is something that we've really enjoyed. You know, some things that we've not good at, things that we've never even thought of doing. You know what I mean? It's relationships will all, if you don't communicate, they're always changing. Everything's always changing.
I think so important. The thing is, even me growing up, communications, I was so bad at it. Like, I think men in general, like, I would never sit somebody down. Like, I'm the type, I just watch. So I'll go in a relationship, not tell them what they're doing wrong, and you get me? And then one day I'll just walk away. But I need to learn. I'm learning now, like, I need to learn, like, you need to talk to them if they do something wrong. Sit them down. But I'm the type, I'll just keep things in. I think that's the worst thing you can do.
If they've done something wrong that you don't agree with, like I say, in any new relationship, obviously if you've walked away from a relationship or ended it without communicating or without telling the reason, then again it goes back to that, you know, true to yourself, you've been a coward. But if you tell them and it's reoccurring and doing it again, doing it again, there's only so many times you can be like, well, this ain't the relationship for me. I need to take a step back. But with me, Melissa, we've been fortunate enough to, like, always work out our struggles or get past of what we can. There's been times, no, not at all, no. There's been times, you know, where we've took breaks from each other from right at the beginning, but some always gravitated us back to each other. So yeah, it's difficult times in any relationship worth having.
It's never smooth sailing.
No,
it's like literally
it's
never.
A bit like socials, you know what I mean? They see us laughing and smiling and socials and whatever and travelling, but people say, why don't you show the other side? Well, I'm not really going to get a camera out when she's crying or I'm crying. I'm like, you know what I mean?
God, it'd be every day.
I said, then we wouldn't be together. You know, snot all over the face of my Oh, you want to see the other side? Fucking hell, yeah. So you've got to find that balance, I guess. But yeah, for me,
you guys met. How long were you in school when you met? Or
no, it was college. It was when I got released. I got released from Middlesbrough Football Club, and I was without a club at the time. So they put me in college in the time. I think I was 17, 18. While I was trying to look for a new club, I was going on trials to loads of professional clubs. But I went in the gym one day. I was doing part-time football at college for a couple of months and doing a sports course. That's when I met Vinny, my best mate. And I remember us going in the gym at the college. I was like, she's fit. And I didn't have the arse at the time. I said, Vinny, go and ask her for a number. So Vinny went over and says, oh, my mate over there wants your number. I'm like, Vinny! Looking and just put her head back down. I was thinking, how's that going? He's come over and she went, oh, mate, she's got a boyfriend. I was like, it doesn't matter, then leave it at that. So I left it at that. And I'd say about 3 months later, I done my thing. She obviously had a boyfriend. I remember being out in Middlesbrough and she come over and went, I'm not with my boyfriend no more, you know. So I was like, oh, really? All right. So I obviously got to know that night. Went on a few dates. I remember our first date in the local park, Stewart's Park. I turned up there. I remember my jacket, a baby blue Fred Perry tracksuit on already, air gel. I had blonde streaks in my hair at the time. And then I met up with her a few times, and after I think it was about only quite quick, to be fair, 4 weeks. And I remember remember that song Wifey. It was next, is it? Is it next? Will you be my wife? I remember messaging her saying, "Will you be my wifey?" So she messaged saying, "Does that mean your girlfriend?" So she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Yeah, okay then." So we've been together ever since then. And obviously, I was at college. I went to play football away, different areas. She stayed at college. She was going to go to London to dance down there. She decided not to. She had a dream of opening her own dance school. Well, she wanted to share her dad's dream and her dream, and she wanted to share it. Her dad passed away. So she opened her own dance school, and that's been successful for the last 15 years plus.
Yes, it's I remember one of the boys, they came on my talent show. Was that her cousin?
Yeah. Who was that? That's Fredo. How do you say his name?
I can't remember. He was sick though. He was like he does ballet.
Oh no, I'm on about the other guy that come on your talk show. The rapper.
Oh yeah.
But Melissa, she's one came on. It was during lockdown. That one, was it?
Yeah. I was smashing it, man.
Yeah, you were good, damn it, for
the good old days.
It's crazy to say that, because I used to say that during lockdown. Like, although everyone was like, "This is shit. Like, we can't go out." I remember saying to Melissa every other day, I said, "We need to take this in as much as we can." Because I went back to my nana's to stay there with her. So me and Melissa were living with her through the whole of lockdown. I said, "I can guarantee we'll look back at this and say the good old days."
Yeah.
I said, "I know I will." I said, "So we need to take this as much as we can." It's like, nothing was ever in a rush. We could get up. I was looking the best I could. I felt I could get on my run. Everything was like in routine, and I didn't have to rush out to this busy world and feel so much pressure. Again, maybe not everyone was like that, because I was fortunate enough to be sat on the contract of Hera. I didn't really have to leave. Some people may have lost money, so that might have been a hard time. But for me, lockdown, I wouldn't say a blessing, but I've seen a lot of good in lockdown.
I think lockdown made me, I would say. Because it made me like really think about what I wanted and like focus on what I needed to do.
Slowed a lot of things down.
Yeah, it's just a bit. You can hear yourself a bit more, can't you? Instead of like rushing here and then you have to be in Newcastle the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like you can find yourself a bit. I feel like
it was a big point as well as the fact that everyone else was doing the same. So you couldn't look on social media and see that I was in Dubai or someone and be like, "Oh, I need to do that. I want to do that." Everyone else is at home doing the same thing. So you sort of felt like, well, there's not competition, but you sort of felt like you didn't need to keep up with the Joneses by doing all that. You were happy just getting up, having your breakfast, spending time with your mum, brother, dad, doing what you needed to do, slowing things down, working on what you need to work, and repeat. And that was like, I was really content with that. You know what I mean? Nice. Which is why lockdown was good. Obviously not good in the bigger picture, but for yourself, personal reasons.
Yeah, definitely. So what's kind of like next for you then? Like, cause you've got like Fawn. Like, what's kind of like next step?
So next step, well, obviously summer drop for Fawn. Myself and Jason are currently working on that.
Wait, say that again?
The summer drop for Fawn.
Oh, okay.
So we're
These are all Fawn, by the way.
Yeah. I've got the full rig the boys out there.
And the thickness, like, see the quality.
It's cheers, bro.
It's fucking sick. I love it.
I'll pay you later.
It's an extended neck for me.
It's just the thick rib line, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard.
But yeah, next steps is just growing the businesses. We've got the summer drop coming up. The website actually closes tonight, where we're just going to shut the website down so we can fully focus on the collection. We're not taking it in a new direction, but we're putting things out that are probably more true to my beliefs and Jason's beliefs. There's a lot of streetwear brands out there, and I love what we're doing, which it will continue to do. But I just believe, obviously, the idea came about of when I proposed to Melissa in Dubai. I wanted to wear something that was, the brands. And we had these T-shirts really thick, the prints on the back. And I was just like, they just don't go with the scene or the environment of me getting on my knee on a boat. So I was like, we need to do some really rather cool shirts or really lightweight, cool T-shirts with, nice fit shorts, 2-piece sets, really smart trousers, linen short, this type of vibe. What I thought was like, right, we need to do this. I told Jason, he agreed. So that's sort of where the direction we're going to go this summer. I guess it sort of comes with maturity in terms of age. Where I want to wear something really nice that I look in my wardrobe and it's something that I've created and I can wear that for a meal, or I can wear, to go out.
Multiple occasions.
And what these were, although I love these, what we're doing and what we've released, but I just feel it's more that we can offer within.
Is this the last of this then? Is that?
Yes, once that's summer, and that design and that style, yeah.
The back of it's hard.
Yeah, I know, it's sick, isn't it?
Nice. From them, and then obviously we'll be releasing different things in the summer, and then obviously the sunglasses brand Circular. We've got. It was meant to be this week in London, but speaking to Danny today, didn't happen, so it might be next week. We've got a really promising meeting and exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can't say anything just yet on that brand, but something to get over the line on that. And if we do, I believe that will elevate that brand in terms of what's happening with it.
Is it like a collab?
So along them lines, but obviously the other side of a collab. It's some potentially coming in
a shop
with us.
I know it. No, I think it's sick. I think the glasses are sick.
Yeah.
In fact, the day of my Love Island audition, I said I'm gonna buy these sunglasses. Remember the one you sent me?
I do, yeah.
So
the storm ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I bought them before Love Island, right? The day I was going there, my audition, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this and I'm gonna get this. Like, I'm gonna get Love Island. So I bought them. Boom. Following week, I found out what was going on. I'm like, yes. And now you're here. And you've been, to be fair, you've been supporting me, like you and the message came on.
Yeah, like I say, I seen you on Love Island with him, and we both speaking in DMs, and I like what you're about, bro. You know what I mean? Your energy, your vibe, you're really outgoing in terms, you know what I mean? You're easygoing. You don't take life too seriously, but you run business at the same time. I see you having fun with your missus. So yeah, I respect and like what you're about, you know what I mean? Which is why I've probably stayed in touch and still in touch and brought us right here to this day. And obviously, Luke, we go way back with our first ever shoot, don't we?
Fox Island.
Do you want to tell about that one, Luke?
Oh God.
Was that your first type of big shoot?
That was like my
was
first ever shoot. So I was plumbing at the time, and I signed up to this model agency, and
did you pay?
I signed up to this Manchester model agency, and I used to go there after my work, and I said to my boss, I was like, oh, I got like a modeling gig after the weekend. Can I have it off? And he was like, what? I said, what the fuck are you on about? I was like,
it was back then.
Oh yeah.
Now it's
and then I went to the futsal. I didn't really know what to expect because it was my first kind of proper shoot. Didn't really know.
A big one for your first one.
Yeah. And then that's where I saw Leon, but I knew
we're from similar areas. Is Redcar, the seaside, mine's Middlesbrough.
I kind of always saw you because siksilk.
Yeah.
I literally bought the first jersey. I think I just bought everything he does. I was like, siksilk jersey, fawn. I was like,
but you don't often get that. I feel like with you, it's whatever you wore, me and the boys, we were getting it. You get me? We were buying it.
Yeah,
so
I think that is why Ash sort of put me, which is what his reasons were, why he put me on that, exclusive contract, because there was a lot of smaller brands batting off the back of him, and obviously I couldn't turn him down. So for example, I was shooting for him and then shooting for a smaller brand a week later, and now these were coming Hera was coming associated with these brands. So people sometimes, then a customer might have jumped, and he was like, I'm potentially losing a lot of customers just because you're modelling for them. So that's sort of why it made me exclusive at the time. But yeah, siksilk and Hera back then, they blew up massive. Two big brands.
That was I feel like that was the perfect time to start.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's not the same anymore. No, it's kind of it's so much harder. But back then, it was just
Bro, it was nuts. Like I said, I had to go on eBay to buy my ID for gear. You get me? It was nuts.
Yeah, it was
selling out.
I think I got £200 for that shoot as well.
I remember you saying, everyone thought it was Beaver.
It
was a campaign.
So
I was a regular client for futsal. I used to do all the e-com. And that was campaigns were big. Obviously, we're going in shop windows. It was a summer campaign. the whole idea of lads going on holiday, coming out the airport, all that, laughing,
suitcase
joking
like
and
this.
stuff.
Yeah.
Fake suitcases. We're just pretending we've been to a beef and clearly hadn't. But yeah, I remember you turned up. It was a good shoot. There was two other lads. Kai London or something was another one. And then two other... Chris went big, to be fair. I think he moved to LA. So a few other lads, 5 of us.
What about, because I was just thinking, what about that, who's Elijah or whatever? Why did you say his name?
Stephen James, his real name
Is that, right, so, well...
It was Elijah, he's originally Scottish, from Scotland.
Really?
Yeah, believe it or not.
So I remember seeing you and him, like, I don't know if you've done a shoot together, but I was like, you and him, like, up there, killing it.
Yeah, so
you know what I'm talking about now?
Stephen James,
he's got
all the time, it was a big back piece.
Oh,
6 songs.
yeah.
Back piece is nuts.
Right, yeah, I know what you mean.
So
Yeah.
he's from, obviously, originally, he's played football at a professional level, played for Scotland International at young age.
I thought
good
he was-
player.
Yeah, I knew he played football, but
And then he obviously lived in London, blew up. Back then, he was the biggest of the biggest. Yeah,
I thought it was like you and him.
he was
Up
massive. Like I remember me being on a shoot with him, and obviously my fees started to climb, and I was getting good money. I remember him saying, "I've just the shoot that blew up for him. It was shot on his iPhone. He'd done it himself in a bath. Calvin Klein challenged some models that would have selected to be creative and do a shoot that was going to go on shop windows, but only shoot it on the iPhone. And he done one where he took it and it was like half in the water, and it blew up for him. I remember him saying like he got something like went on a shoot for them and got 3 days and got something like 60 grand, 20 grand a day. And I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? And then from then on, work like that was probably the low end of his fees. Like he used to have chat. I was like,
When
wow.
you get home, get that out. Half in the water. You know what I mean? 20 grand a day.
Just blow some, just throw some blow up. I want to see it. It was 20p a day.
Wear some tatted boxes as well.
I want to see that.
I'll give it a go.
The Pallet bathroom podcast. There we go.
Oh, I'm dying. Well, yeah, do you still speak to him? I actually didn't see
Briefly, he's moved to Madrid now.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if he's fluent Spanish, but he had a Spanish girlfriend. He's just opened one in the W, the hotel in Spain. Is it? Have you had a W?
Yeah.
Massive. He's obviously got his own hairdressing shop now, and he's opening them all over the world.
Yeah.
So he went exclusive with Siksilk, and I think Father and Sons, the share company. So they'll, to this day, I think they're still paying a very wealthy.
I think he's still exclusive, to be fair, because I think last time, I think I did a shoot for siksilk with Luce, and he was there doing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
He's still with Siksilk. I think he's exclusive that, or he just overprices jobs because he doesn't want the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
So if I was to get in touch and say, oh, we want one for a shoot one day, he'd say, yeah, it's 50 grand. We're clearly not going to a bit like tradesmen.
I know,
sometimes
I know.
overpriced because they're too busy. I
People
don't
like
want it. Yeah, grand a day. I'll just flame. Just that boiler.
Lucy's dad always asked me to do jobs like tap. Like his bathroom was leaking. I was like, that costs a lot now, you know.
Yeah.
They've gone up since Love Island, you know.
Yeah. And if you want me to do it naked, that's a couple more. Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Life, eh?
No, man, that's wicked. Like, appreciate you coming on.
No,
like,
thank you, lads. Thank you.
It's
for
good
having
to
us,
talk
man.
about like self builds and stuff because like we
Facts.
really haven't experienced self builds.
No.
So we haven't done it. So yeah, we appreciate you coming on and stuff.
Especially with your background, like we need to keep it real, like
Yeah.
for modeling, like you're not like,
No, not
a businessman, whatever. Obviously, you're a businessman, but like you're doing your own thing naturally. I've been watching you for fucking years. You get me?
Yeah.
So seeing you do that to like building the house you did, you'd think you owned freaking Bentley factory or whatever. You get me? Like you made it happen. Like watching you made me feel like, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Anything's possible. So appreciate you having us. You.
Big skag
in his
I can't even speak.
What's in the prime?
I think
and them feathers on us, eh?
It's a bit tight. But yeah, thank you for coming on, bro.
No
I really
problem,
appreciate it.
really.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching the Pallet podcast. Leon Scott, come on. Love it.
Thank you.
Peace.